You think she wouldn't have died by the time she got down there?
She probably would have sank almost immediately.
Yeah, she would have sank, but
to
then
the bottom.
Wouldn't the pressure made her go like... Poof?
What? You don't know. Technically, we don't know how far down it was.
That's true. I'm assuming it was deep. It's the ocean.
Right, but it doesn't have to be a deep part of the ocean.
I don't know. These are the things that keep me up
Like,
at
it's
night.
not like it was the Mariana's Trench that she was dropped down to. I'm Kat.
And I'm Cass.
And you're listening to Two Book Bitches.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to our channel.
Wait, I think Pepper wants to come up.
Do you want to come up,
Come,
girlfriend?
Pepper.
Come.
Come on, Pepper. Come join the ranks.
Come on, look.
We need our mascot for this episode. For every single episode. She needs to just be sitting here with us.
My mom, like, literally was like, why don't you... Oh, she's
Pepper.
choking a little. She just drank some water.
She's so excited.
She got excited.
What did your mom
Hi,
say?
you're okay. My mom literally was like, why isn't Pepper in your, like, podcast photo?
Yeah, everyone says that to us now. Like, even our husbands say that, too.
Yeah.
Like,
so
you
I-
should include Pepper in, because she's basically in every episode.
And I'm like, yeah, that's true. I didn't expect her to be, like, this interested in sitting with us.
Yeah.
Because usually she's like a pretty, like, chill dog. Like, she'll sleep, she'll, like, whatever. But every time we come to sit together on the couch to film, she's like, oh, I have to join.
And she does.
Yeah, and if anyone saw, like, my Instagram post, like, my dad literally watches these. Not for Kat and I. He's like, I don't even know what you guys are saying. He watches them for Pepper.
Oh, Pepper just added a bunch of words to the keyboard, to
Hi, sweet
our
girl.
show notes.
Okay, so technically this episode is coming out...
After Christmas.
Correct.
So, Merry Christmas to all those who celebrate.
Happy holidays to all those who celebrate something else. I hope you guys...
Yeah, we hope you had, like, a great time with family and
nice family time. I hope
time
you
off.
feel regenerated, recharged.
I love the holiday season.
I do. I just like it because, like, I really do just get to see a lot of family, and it is really, like, as hectic as it is, because, like, you also have a big family, like,
Oh, yeah.
like, she's my sister-in-law. I think most of you people know that. I think
We've
so.
said that
We've
many
said
times.
it so many times.
Yeah.
But, like, her family and my husband's family is big, and then my family is also big. Your in-laws
And my
side, like,
husband's
also
side is very big.
So, like,
Yeah.
we're kind of all over the place during the holidays.
But it's like a fun rush. Like,
yeah,
I enjoy the hecticness of it. It's like the only time when my life is hectic that, like, I'm excited by it.
I love giving gifts.
Yes, that is my love
really
language.
Fun. Yeah, it is. She
I
gives
love
really
gifts.
good gifts, guys. I love giving gifts. I just love seeing everyone. I like getting everyone together.
Oh, I think I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Do you really?
Yes. Well, I get at this point you've already opened it. So you, right? Because this would have been,
Oh my god,
this is after Christmas. So you would have opened it and you're going to love it.
Okay, so if you're watching this, you got to come back. Or I guess I have to come back to this episode.
To this moment and be like, oh, now I understand what
Now
you're
I
talking
understand.
about.
Oh, that's exciting. Do I know what I'm getting you? Hold on. Let me think for a second. I did talk about this with Thomas because I did start making my Christmas list. Today is November 20th. So I did start making my Christmas list already. I know what I'm getting a couple people.
Okay, yeah. I just wanted to make sure that I had it on my
On your Christmas list?
notes app. I have a notes app, running notes app of anytime someone ever mentions anything that they like, immediately goes into the gifts
See,
option app.
I have, for some reason this year, I'm like struggling to think of the main part of your gift. I have like a bunch of other like
Smaller things.
things I want to get you. I almost feel like I have like a gift basket assortment of things I want to get you.
I always love a gift basket.
I know. It's kind of like...
You don't have to give me a big thing.
No,
You
I
just do
know.
that.
Usually I feel like I get you like... I'll get
Like a
you like
main
a
gift,
gift,
and
and
then,
then I'll
like,
get you like
smaller
something
things.
like small,
Yeah.
like cutesy, like whatever. Like we're big into the gifts
Yeah,
in this family.
We are.
Like your mom does a great stocking.
Oh, I love my mom's stockings.
Fucking love my mother-in-law's stockings. My family never did stocking stuffers traditionally. My mom used to do this thing where she would just like in a little Christmas bag, she would put like a bunch of stuff. She would put like deodorant, socks, like chapstick, like makeup, like obviously she'd do different ones for my brothers and whatever, but like an actual stocking, like your family does, and it's like really nice. I like love it. It's so fun. Oh my god, exciting. So I hope you guys had a nice
Yeah, I hope you guys
break.
had great holiday season.
Oh, and I guess like the new year is coming up.
The new year is coming up.
2024 feels like it's going to be a good year, I think.
I've been saying that.
Yeah, you
I've been saying, I said 2023 was a meh year because just the number 2023 is meh.
And she deadass said this Christmas or New Year's Eve
of last year.
Like we had a big New Year's party and we had these like big like 2023 balloons, and she literally was like, guys, like 23 is going to be like meh because like the number 23 is like stupid.
Yeah. I did say that I think 2024 to 2026 are going to be great. So 2024, 2025, and 2026 I think are going to be great years.
Okay, just like numerology wise.
Yes. 27, meh.
Okay.
This is my prediction.
Okay.
28 will be great.
29,
29,
No.
29 will be meh, but maybe a bit better than,
2030?
and then 2030 will be lit.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Come back to this.
Yeah. So in case, if your next year is great, it's because I said it's.
It's
so.
because
We said
Kat
so.
said so.
We said so.
Specifically.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, it's all going to be great. Like,
I mean, not that this year was particularly
No,
bad.
it's just kind of, you know what it was for me? It was a very
Just
big,
quiet.
it was a very,
year.
quiet transition year for me, I think, personally.
Yeah. I think next year's gonna be better.
Yeah, I think next
It's gonna
year's
knock
going to be...
our socks off.
Yeah, I'm excited for next year. We've got a couple fun things coming up, family-wise. I think that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Got some vacations planned.
It will be a good year.
I think it's gonna be a really
I'm
good
convinced
year.
for everyone.
Me too.
So, anyways, what we're doing today is we are back with
Correct.
House of Sky and
and
Breath, and we're doing chapters 65 to 70. So we're almost done the book.
This is the penultimate episode.
Yes. After this, there's only one more episode left of the
That's
book.
it.
Yeah.
And can I just say, okay, actually, let me just, spoilers ahead. If you have not read, turn back now.
Or don't.
Because we're not your moms and we can't tell you what to do. Anyways, everything's really ramping up.
Yes, this last 100 pages, so much happened in not a lot of pages.
It's just a
it's
lot.
everything is just important. So our summaries were just a little bit chaotic. So I was like, oh my god, this is important. I can't just skip this whole conversation because it's important.
There's a lot of talking.
Yeah,
Lots of discuss.
Lots of talking, and then a lot of action. Which, as you know,
I skim.
Cass and I have no idea what happens in action scenes.
I saw this comment on a TikTok video, and when I tell you, it made me piss myself laughing.
What was the comment?
So it was this TikTok video, and it was depicting scenes from Akawar, a court of wings and ruin.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was depicting Reese in his beast form. It was the battle scene.
Wasn't his beast form in it?
Yeah, he does.
I don't remember that.
So he does all these things, people in their suits, whatever, and the images were very fantastical. I will say they were created by AI, but that's a whole different issues. But it was cool pictures, right? So very fantastical. And then someone commented, they were like, yo, my imagination budget is so low because I did not picture this at all. And when I read that, I was cackling because that's dead ass me.
Oh yeah, no, me too.
I don't know why, but specifically for battle scenes, give me a romance scene or give me a conversation scene. Oh my god.
No, great. You're in the library. I can picture that shit.
I love.
But on a battlefield,
scene,
no.
The imagination budget real low.
Yeah, I have no idea what's
CGI
happening.
budget real low.
Yeah.
In my brain.
It normally takes me multiple reads of a paragraph just to figure out what's happening.
And I was like, you are so fucking real for saying that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And normally those are easier to summarize too, because it's just and then they were fighting.
No, that's all I say. Died. I'm they were fighting.
Yeah, that's all I can give you. I don't really know.
We get one chapter here. I literally think it's chapter 70 where all the action really picks up, and I did the summary. It's quite literally a paragraph because they're just doing stuff. And I'm and then they did this, and then they did this. So
where did we leave off last time?
Okay, so we left off with Bastion helping Bryce and Hunt escape Urd's temple through a secret passageway.
Secret tunnel.
That's coming out soon. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Real sidebar, but
did it come out?
No, it's coming out in the beginning of January. I think.
Okay, so at the time of this.
At the time of this, it hasn't come out. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes out. Hasn't come out.
And technically, when this episode's out, it comes out in a couple weeks.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
But anyway, sidebar.
So he helps him out of with the secret tunnel.
And we get the bomb drop that Bastion was Danica's mate. So this is what we're reeling.
That's where we left off. Yeah. Okay. So we're still in this secret tunnel. And Bryce and Hunt don't believe that Bastion is Danica's mate. And Bastion tells them that basically to ask Sabine, since apparently Sabine knew.
Fucking course she does.
And Bryce still isn't buying it because she thinks that this is something Danica would have told her. And to be honest, this is something that Danica, I think, could have told Bryce. It had nothing really to do with all the rebellion shit that Danica was involved in, all the secret research that Danica was doing. So I just don't feel like this could have been something she could have shared with her friend. Right? I don't see why not.
I mean, so I'm trying to think because it did say that Bastion and Danica didn't see each other often, correct?
No, they didn't. They saw each other once a month.
Once in a fucking blue
or
moon.
Once every 2 months. Actually, it's in the summary here.
Yeah, it's in the summary. Like, I'm pretty sure that they didn't see each other often, so maybe it's like a similar kind of situation where she felt like, I don't know.
I just think of all the secrets that she kept from Bryce. Like, she had a freaking list of secrets. Like, she could have picked and choose which ones she told Bryce. Then, okay, and this one seems like one of them she could have told Bryce.
Let's postulate what would have happened. So, like, she would have told Bryce, like, Bryce, I have a mate. Oh my God, who's your mate? His name's Bastian. Obviously, they would have known that he was the Hellhound from Sandriel's Triari at the time, especially, right? Yeah. So he's kind of like a big bad in a sense.
Yes.
Right? So, and then
Bryce is convinced that she wouldn't have cared.
Presumably, Bryce wouldn't have cared, but then wouldn't she have also been like, why the fuck don't you guys see each other? And then I guess they could have hidden it behind...
No, but the reason that they don't see each other is because of like, Sandriel and, like, his...
Yeah, so I guess they could have hidden...
His, like, commitments to Sandriel.
Yeah.
Like, so he only had certain days off, kind of
yeah.
thing.
So I guess they could have hidden it behind that, but at some point I feel like Bryce would have... Because Bryce is a very curious person.
Yeah, maybe she's just like, too nosy for
yeah,
it.
I feel like she would have...
She can't just accept something at face value.
Yeah.
Like, you tell her something, she wants, like, all the details.
Yeah. And she also, like, won't, like... I feel like if she heard her friend being like, oh yeah, like I can only see him once every 2 months, like I feel like Bryce would have had to, like, tried to solve the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Which maybe would have gotten them into, like, more shit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then it would have put what Danica was doing at risk. So, I mean, as much as I wanted her to tell Bryce, because, like, I'm also, like, I think that, like, she kept so much from Bryce, I also, in a sense, see, like, why.
I get it, but maybe. I'm still, like, seriously, of all the secrets?
Mm-hmm.
So Bastian tells them that he met Danica 2 years before she died, and meeting her changed everything for him. And she tells them how, like, they met. There was a gathering of the Pangerian and Valbyran wolves, and Danica was sent as the Prime's emissary. And after the gathering, Danica sought out Bryce because she was researching shifter ancestry, and she wanted to know more about Bastian's shifter ancestry, specifically because while she was looking into the most, like, ancient bloodlines in their world, she saw, like, a name on an early ancestor's family tree that could be traced all the way to Bastian.
Yeah, she's, like, really obsessed with this, like, wolf ancestry thing, which it's about to come into play, like, really deeply, so.
Bastian couldn't really give her any info that she was looking for, but once they met, they knew that they were mates. And then Danica started to tell him a bit about her research. So the timeline does end up making sense in Bryce's mind, because 2 years before Danica died, Bryce does remember that Danica stopped dating anyone. Like, she's like, she would party, but she wouldn't sleep around casually.
Yeah, because she
like, wouldn't, like, because now she's thinking back.
She's like, no,
she's like, what do you mean? Like, she slept around. Like,
and
she
then
had
he
another.
Was like, think about it.
She's like, she had another boyfriend at the time, and then when she actually thought about it, she's like, wait, like, 2 years before she died, like, she would party, but she wouldn't go on dates. Get together with anyone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she's like, oh, okay, maybe that kind of adds up. Mm-hmm. So Bastian also tells him that he's convinced that her death was because of the research that she was doing. Mm-hmm. And Danica essentially wanted to know where everyone came from and what they'd all once been. She was also looking for, like, an alternative to Sabine becoming the next Prime, because she had a feeling that she wouldn't be around long enough to replace Sabine. Mm-hmm. So she already had a sense of foreboding. Bryce doesn't understand why Danica never told her this, and Bastian explains that Danica wanted to, but that they kept their relation on the super DL. Like, didn't really tell anyone. They never talked on the phone or even wrote to each other, and they only met up, like, one day every 2 months at, like, the same hotel.
That actually blows.
Yeah. So he only had 2 years with her, and essentially if he only had 2 years with her and they only saw each other once every 2 months.
12 times he saw her.
Yeah. Like, think of how sad that is.
And that's your mate.
Yeah.
And for wolves and, like, things like that, like, mate is, like, deeply, it's like, that's your
That's
mate.
actually tragic when you think about that. That actually hurts my feelings.
No, it does, especially because, like, now that we realize, like, he's not this, like, shitty person, like, I don't know, just...
Yeah. So Danica was worried that if the Asteri ever found out about the mating bond, that they would use Bastian against her to keep her in line. So that's also part of the reason why she just didn't want to breathe a word of it to anybody. Mm-hmm. Then Bryce asks Bastian if Danica ever told him that she loved him, and he says yes. And this rattles Bryce, since Danica had once claimed that she had only ever said those words to Bryce. And then Bryce is like, well, how could she love you if you're, like, a monster? And he explains that after meeting Danica, he tried his best to counteract all of the bad things he did for Sandriel. And even if it meant just, like lessening the evil of Sandriel. He did whatever he could, even if it was small. Bryce is like, all right, I've had enough of hearing this from you. Like, I can't take this. But Bastian dismisses that and basically telling Bryce that it's clearly her life's mission these days to find out everything there is to know about Danica and what Danica knew. Which, I mean, that's true. That is the case. Bryce is like, fine, if you knew Danica so well, then how did Danica meet Sophie Renast? So Bastian says that Danica found out about Sophie while researching the Thunderbird lineage as part of her research into shifters. Because, again, she was obsessed. And once she traced the bloodlines, she used her bloodhound gift to track Sophie down. Bryce then asks if he knows anything about why Sophie carved those, like, numbers and letters on herself while she drowned.
Did she carve it with, like, a finger or something?
She must have had a knife or something. How could she carve it with a finger?
Like a nail?
You think...
Like a really pointy nail?
Like, think about your nail. That would be really hard to like, carve number into your skin.
But if it was, like, really pointy...
I guess if it was pointy, but, like, what if she had some nicely trimmed nails?
I don't know.
How do you, like, point your finger?
I don't know.
Maybe she grabbed, like, a rock on the ocean floor.
You think she wouldn't have died by the time she got down there?
She probably would have sank almost immediately.
Yeah, she would have sank, but
to the bottom.
Wouldn't the pressure made her go like...
What? You don't know. Technically, we don't know how far down it was.
That's true. I'm assuming it was deep. It's the ocean.
Right, but it doesn't have to be a deep part of the ocean.
I don't know. These are the things that keep me up
Like,
at
it's
night.
not like it was the Mariana's Trench that she was dropped down into.
Oh my god, can you... I literally can't fucking...
Like, it could have just been, like, deep water.
Fucking Lydia the Hound driving her, or the Hind driving her all the way to the Mariana's Trench to, like, dump her into... Oh my god, that's fucking funny. Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I'm thinking that she grabbed a rock on the ocean floor.
Before she died.
Yeah.
And she was like...
Yeah, I mean, what else
What if
did
there was
use?
only, like, smooth rocks down there?
You know what? Then, she found a way. She clearly found a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, she found a way.
Okay.
Anyways, Bastian clearly knows exactly what she's talking about with these numbers, and he recites the same sequence that was on Sophie's body. He's like, was it this number / letter? And Bryce is like, what the fuck? What is that sequence? Like, how do you even know about it?
Like, tell me.
Bastian explains that it's a system of numbering rooms used in the Asteri archives. And Bryce is like, how do you even know that? And he's like, because I'm the one that gave it to Danica. So Bastian goes on to say that he served as Sandriel's escort on one of her visits to the Asteri palace. And they brought her down to the archives for a meeting. And Bastian saw them go through a door that was marked with that sequence of numbers and letters. And then when Sandriel came out of the room, she was like as pale as death. And it was odd enough for him to remember that door sequence, which he then gave to Danica to look into at some point in the future. But then Danica became obsessed with it and even had her own theories for what was in that room. But Danica knew that she was too recognizable to go in there herself. So after meeting Sophie, she had Sophie sneak in to investigate. But according to the Hind's reports, this took Sophie 3 years of spying and going undercover as one of the archives just to get into.
Yeah, so she basically got a job essentially working as an archivist so that she could gain access.
And since it took her 3 years, by the time she found out what it was Danica sent her to find out, Danica was already dead.
Damn.
So clearly whatever Sophie learned in that room must have been the intel that Sophie planned to use as leverage against the Ophion and the Asteri.
Yep.
But the Asteri don't have any of their like palace blueprints on the web, and their library cataloging system is secret. So anything that is like digitalized is highly encrypted as well. But this gives Bryce an idea because she has a hacker friend who might be helpful. So Bryce and Hunt leave Bastian and head to Rune's house, where she tells the boys everything that she learned, and Declan like breaks out his hacking skills and starts working.
How good are his hacking skills? Like, presumably, the Asteri are, like, these top-notch secret people, right? Like,
right, well, I guess she doesn't know what the limits of his skills are, so she asks him.
Okay, but he always seems to be successful.
Right,
so
but
I
don't think...
How weak is their security?
Well, this is the first time that they're hacking into Asteri stuff.
Oh.
Everything else has been, like, the street cameras.
No, yeah, that's fine. Like, that's fine.
So this is the first time she's asking him to look into Asteri stuff. So, like, she doesn't know where his limits are.
I guess, yeah.
But while they're at the house, we learn from the TV news that Pollux Mordok and the Hind were hailed as heroes for stopping the rebels' attack on Urd's temple, but Pippa managed to escape somehow.
Cockroaches always do.
The only saving grace being that there was no word about the gang's connection to the rebel attack, so they're kind of in the clear for now.
Okay, good.
While Declan is working away, Bryce asks Ethan if he knew about Bastian and Danica being mates, and he said that he had no clue and that he never even scented anything on her either.
How did they hide that?
Well, I don't know. Bryce just postulates that maybe it had something to do with Danica's bloodhound gifts. Maybe she could also hide scents with her gift as well.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
But I mean, there's no confirmation.
Yeah, because in the last, or in like one of the other episodes that we did, like they were constantly being like, "Oh, congratulations!
Yeah,
you
they
smell
were like,
different.
Sounds like you had smells like you had sex with Bryce. Did you hunt?
Yeah.
Like,
did you happen to do that before you got
yeah.
here?
Anyways, so then Declan chimes in saying that there's good news and bad news. So bad news is there's no way he can hack into the archival system because that's how good their system is.
Okay.
See, there you go.
There we go.
But good news is that there is a camera system in the Eternal Palace which is hackable.
Okay, cute.
Which means that at the very least he can confirm if Sophie ever got into that room and where exactly that room might be in the palace.
Okay.
So he gets to work and he manages to get the old footage of Sophie in the archives. They watch as Sophie goes into the room marked with that specific sequence, and she doesn't emerge from the room until 15 minutes later, looking pale as death. And the footage is dated 2 months ago, right before she went into Kavala to get her
like
brother.
death camp or whatever.
Bryce then declares that they need to get into the Eternal City and into those archives to find out what Sophie knew. Everyone looks at her like she's crazy.
Because it is fucking crazy.
Saying there's no way they can get into those Asteri archives. And Rune chimes in saying that they would be operating blindly since they don't even know like their way around the palace. But Bryce objects, saying that they do know someone who's intimately familiar with its layout, aka Hunt.
So traumatizing because he was tortured there too,
No,
right?
exactly. Everyone disperses, leaving Ethan and Therion alone in the house. They chit-chat a bit about each other's love lives, with Therion offering Ethan advice to not do anything tragically romantic to prove himself to Bryce. And he's like, that's not on my agenda. I'm over Bryce. Are you, though?
I mean, he's trying to convince himself
I
that he's
think
over.
so.
And, like, obviously he respects Bryce. He respects Hunt. Like,
yeah.
He's
not going to do anything.
Yeah, he's not going to do anything.
It.
He might still probably have...
Yeah, he might have, like, a little bit of a flame for her.
Yeah, it's
but
like
I don't think he's going to...
unrequited love.
Yeah, he's not going to do anything about it.
No.
Therion then tells Ethan that if he has any unresolved business with anyone, then he should get it done before they go to the Eternal City, just in case, they don't come back. Ethan then...
It's so morbid.
No, but it's pots.
I know,
very likely.
but it's just like...
Ethan then announces that there is something he has to do, and he skedaddles.
Okay. So we're flipping now. Now we're with Bryce and Fury, and they're chilling in the bar. And presumably... like, Bryce has told Fury about, like, the plan, and Fury is basically telling Bryce how she's insane for wanting to break into the archives at the Crystal Palace.
Because it is insane. Like, let's call it for what it is.
Let's call a spade a spade. That's fucking nutso.
Like, if you think this is gonna be, like, some fast little excursion,
that's what, like
a quick in and out,
but
like,
here's like,
that's not gonna happen.
What's the fail-safe here? If they
there is none.
Yeah.
It's either they accomplish what they want to accomplish, or they get captured.
That's crazy.
Like, there's no, like, well, we can just escape. If it doesn't work out, we won't get caught.
Yeah, we'll just say we were here for a quick little look around.
Yeah,
like
that's not going to work. It's it's like all or none kind of situation that they're in.
So Bryce is asking Fury for help because Fury has visited the palace before. Fury's done fucking everything. Who is this woman, Fury?
You know what? Fury seems so powerful, and I don't think she's used enough.
She gives Amren vibes.
Like, exactly. Amren's always in Valaris. They just leave her behind.
They're just
like they never really use her.
Well, they leave her behind on purpose.
Well, to look after Valaris.
Exactly, but
they could use her help. I feel like the war would end faster with her help. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, I think that Fury is, like, underused for her talents.
Hopefully we see more of her.
I think so. I want to see her badassness, like, come out.
I know, because they always talk about it. I'm like, no, I want to see her scrap someone.
Yeah,
for
100%.
Sure. So yeah, Fury's visited the palace before, so she may have taken some, like, mental notes of the layout. You know what I mean? At this point, they're just kind of like, honestly, anything will help. So
exactly,
just, please
any
tell
information.
Us. Fury is trying to convince her to not go through with the plan because she's worked for both sides of the cause, and neither is worth the time of day, according to her. Ultimately, Fury does decide to help her and also decides to take Juniper out of the city to lay low for a while. And Bryce also asks her to take, like, Syrinx with her. And I'm just like, thank God, save the pets.
Truly.
I can't stand in like a book or like a movie when like the pet dies. Like, just,
Oh, it's like that movie I Am Legend. The saddest part of that movie is when the dog dies.
I literally did not fucking shed one single tear until that dog died.
Exactly.
I had to leave the room.
That's all that matters.
Oh,
is that poor dog.
Did I ever tell you, you know the movie The Fox and the Hound?
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you like about my turmoil with it as a child?
What was the turmoil?
Okay, so when I first watched The Fox and the Hound, this was like Disney VHS days, right? So I watched it for the first time by myself for some reason. I was actually quite young. Okay, so apparently, and it's the scene where they leave the fox behind in the forest after they had kind of like grown up together, and they have to leave the fox behind in the forest. And apparently my parents came into my room and found me hiding under a laundry basket, ugly crying. And then like I asked them, I was like, are you going to leave me in a forest? And my parents were like, okay, you're not allowed to watch movies by yourself anymore.
I'm pretty sure that is like your husband's like one of his favorite movies growing up. Too.
I love The Fox and the Hound.
I think that was one of like specifically.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly. Anyways.
We'll ask him.
We'll ask him when he gets
here. We'll find out. Really? Do you think that was one of his favorite? Did you guys watch it together? You must have.
Well, when we were kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was one of them like my mom would say like he loved specifically.
Really? Oh, I love that. I used to rewatch it all the time.
Like I think he really liked that one and like I really liked like the Aristocats, for example.
Oh, the Aristocats are so
Yeah, I do like that one a lot.
Okay.
But anyways.
Okay. So now we're with Therion, and he is meeting up with his fiance, the River Queen's daughter, I guess the River Princess, and she's sitting like on this like dock by like the bone quarter or whatever.
She's, like Little Mermaiding herself on a rock.
She is Little Mermaiding. Also, I found out I wasn't picturing her with black hair, but she has black hair. I don't know why.
I don't know why I was picturing her literally as the Little Mermaid with like red hair.
No, same. Because it made a point to say like her long black hair was like flowing behind her, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. She has black hair. Like,
it just goes to show you how sometimes you really don't pay attention to any descriptions of characters.
No head empty, no thoughts. Like
literally,
I will picture you the way I want to picture you. So she's sitting on the dock by like the bone cord or whatever, and he gives her the line. He's like, we have to talk, and nothing ever good happens after that. And immediately she's like, oh, so you're breaking up with me? Like right out the gate, she like knows what's happening, and she's like angry. Like she's not like, ooh, like what was me? Like she's pissed off. And she's like, you think I didn't know all this time that you never meant to marry me? Because like she's like, if you actually would have wanted to marry me, like you would, like if he wanted to, he would.
It's been years.
It's been years, like And then she explains that she was like holding out hope, that there was like a tiny sliver of love there, of affection. Like she kept wanting him to like be with her, but clearly like that's not the case, and they're like not gonna end up together. She asks him if he wants to stay like above, like on the ground, not on the water, and he is like, yeah, like I do. And she's like, really? You want to stay here where it's like fucking filthy and the worst? Like she's like, she's like Sebastian. He's like, the human world is a mess. Like, so he confirms that he wants to stay above. And when he confirms this, she's like, my mother warned me about this, about you. You do not have a true heart. You never did. And I was like, oh my God, that's so Olivia Roderigo of her. You said it was true love. But how can that? What's the line? You said it was true love, but how? What? But how would mean you had a heart? What the fuck's the line?
I don't know. I can't think of it right now.
You said it was true love, but wouldn't that be hard?
Yeah, maybe.
You can't love anyone because that would mean you had a heart.
Okay, yeah, you got it.
I got it. Anyway, so she pulls out that Olivia Rodrigo line. And Therion tells her he has to, like, leave the city. Like, he's like, I gotta go because, like, I gotta do something.
Things to do.
Like, I got things to do, babe. And he's like, but, we'll talk when we get back. And she's like, no, you're coming beneath with me. And when he refuses, she's like, my mother will hear about this. And she jumps in the water, like, so Draco Malfoy coded. Like, my father will hear about this.
That's true, actually.
So she jumps in the water. And Therion is like, okay, you know what? I have about, like, 30 minutes before they come for me. So he thinks that there is, like, one person in Crescent City who may be able to stand up to the River Queen, and then he starts running.
Did you know who he was going to run to?
No.
No, neither did I.
No.
I was like, who's the one person?
When I read this line, I was literally like, Bryce? Like, I was like, I don't know. She seems to be able to just, like, shit
I know,
on
she
everyone.
really can just solve everyone's problems, apparently.
No, I literally was like, oh, Bryce? Because, like, she just doesn't care who she offends at this.
Yeah.
You know what? I think when I had read this, I thought that he was going to go to the Ocean Queen.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I thought he was gonna call like that woman who was like, if you ever need help, come to me and I can get you away.
That's what I had thought when I had originally read this. I was like, oh, he's going to like the Ocean Queen, because like it seems like the Ocean Queen has like a leg up on her sister.
But I guess that would still require him being like exiled in the water forever.
Yeah.
Because if you were to ever go on land, then the River Queen might.
Exactly.
So he didn't want to stay in the water. So maybe this is like the person on land who can help him, I guess.
Exactly. So anyways, like he hightails it out of there, and I had no idea who he was running to at this point. So now we flip back to Ethan and hypoxia. Oh my fucking God.
Did you type it as hypoxia?
I did. Guys, it's actually a problem, and I love her too. Hypoxia.
But I mean, like, it does look like hypoxia.
I'm literally so stupid.
It's one letter difference, really.
I'm literally so stupid. Okay, so now we're with Ethan, and he's thanking Hypaxia for getting him into, like, the wolf den so he can talk to the Prime. And they have this, like, really sweet moment where they, like, call each other, like, friend. Like, she's like, that's what friends do. And he's like, oh, like, it's an honor to call you my friend. And I thought this part was, like, really sweet. I was like, oh, I love that they're friends.
Yeah, they're all friends.
No, I know, but
they're one little Scooby gang, you know?
I know they're one little Scooby gang, but this one in particular just, like, warms my heart. This whole, like, little...
Well, because I feel like Ethan doesn't give himself enough credit, like, even throughout the series. Like, he just feels like he doesn't deserve friends. Like,
I also get, like, big sister, little brother vibes from Hypaxia and Ethan, and I think that basically why I have such a soft spot for Ethan is, like, he's basically creating his, like, own wolf pack with all these, like, you know what I mean?
With all these different strays, kind of.
So he's, like, healing that, like, soul wound of being, like, a wolf without a pack. So anyways, they're at the den, and they enter the Prime's study, and fucking Sabine is there looking menacing as usual. And he immediately starts to tell them about the mystic wolf. And he's like, she's an alpha, and she's from Nenna. Oh my God. Nenna. Remember?
But I still don't know where that is.
Neither do I, but...
Like, SJM, please, put a map.
Give me a map,
I don't care about the map of Crescent City anymore. I need to know where everything else is in relation to it.
I need a Midgard map.
Yeah.
I need a Midgard globe. Some merch ideas for you.
There you go.
Okay?
Just a suggestion.
Babe. Kindly. Love you. Anyway, so, yeah, she's an alpha from Nenna who doesn't know who she is, and they need to rescue her, blah, blah, blah. And Sabine is like, why should we help? Like... Are you trying to concoct some sort of plan with Bryce? Like, basically, she's afraid of being, like, dethroned, essentially. Yeah. And as the Prime apparent. And Ethan is like, Danica would have done something, but Sabine calls Danica an idealistic fool because, you know, Sabine's a piece of shit. Ethan looks at the Prime, but he doesn't say anything. Like, the Prime is, like, silent. He's like, not me. So Sabine leaves, and she's like, I'm done with this. And Ethan is like, well, I tried. So as he's walking out, basically, like, the Prime stops him, and he's like, what does the mystic look like? And Ethan gives the Prime a description, but it's like a pretty generic description. It's like, oh, brown hair, brown eyes. Like, okay, like it's every girl on the planet, basically, unless you're not brown hair, brown eyed. And then the Prime all of a sudden is like, oh, does she smell like snow and embers? I was like, what in the absolute fadoodle? But I guess they're like...
In case the people who make candles need to know what their candle should smell like when they make a candle about this mystic.
Snow and ember.
Snow and ember, there you go.
Snow and ember, babe. And Ethan is like, how did you know? And the Prime is like, Sabine is not the only Fender heir.
And so now all that coming into, like, all that research Danica was doing is finally coming into play, maybe?
Yeah. She found, like, I think she found a whole different branch of, like, the Fenrir line.
Right, but considering everything else that's about to happen, it just seems very irrelevant, you know?
At this point in time, it is irrelevant. I have a feeling it'll come into play, obviously, in, like, CC... I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe there's...
I have a theory on it. We'll talk save about it for the theories episode.
Yeah. So now we switch back to Therion, who bursts into the Viper Queen's lair. So that's who we went to go see.
Bro, the Viper Queen is everywhere in this part now.
I know, she really is.
I really didn't think she was going to be this big of a character,
no,
to be
but
honest.
Apparently she is.
She's...
And I want to know more about her, actually.
Like I said. I think I said in a previous episode, like, I need to know more about her.
So Therion tells the Viper that he wants to be one of her fighters. She tells him that she doesn't take freelancers, so he tells her to buy him and that he's selling himself to her. He explains that it's either be trapped in a palace down in the sea or the river or whatever.
The river?
Or be trapped up here, and he chooses here because at least here he won't be required to breed some royal offspring.
I feel like a lot of these problems could be solved with just enacting your own bodily autonomy from, like, your family. Like, all of these things are like, I don't want to be, like, a breeding machine for my royal family. And it's like, I hear you, babe. I hear ya.
Well, though, there might not be any way of him saying no to getting married to, though. Like he could
No,
be
he
forced.
really had like no choice.
Like he might be forced.
That's what I'm
into
saying.
that.
Like they don't have like a choice.
No. So essentially, he's selling himself to her in order to be free of the River Queen.
Mm-hmm.
She tells him that he would have to defect from the River Queen, and he's like, all right, I hereby defect, which is literally giving, like, Michael Scott, I declare bankruptcy. Because she explains that it's not as simple as just declaring it. She's like, you can't just declare it.
Like, you fucking stupid. Like,
yeah. She then bites her wrist and tells him to drink her blood. So it's a little bit more complicated than just declaring bankruptcy.
Is going on.
So anyways, he drinks her blood, and all of a sudden before he drinks her blood, all of a sudden the floor starts rumbling. And Therion knows that something is coming for him to drag him back to the watery depths. So he grabs the Viper Queen's wrist and drinks her blood.
He's like, let me do that real quick.
So he drinks her blood, and he kind of explains it like it kind of tastes like venomous. Like it almost feels like he's dying when he drinks the blood.
Damn.
And the rumbling stops all of a sudden. So now he's finally free of the River Queen.
Does this mean he like defected from the House of Many Waters as well?
Yes.
So he's not part of the house anymore. Or like
I'm unclear about that because like she explains that there's like people there who defected from the Autumn King. So I just think it's like who you're defecting who's
from the leader.
From the leader, yeah.
Not
because he's swearing his allegiance now to
the Viper Queen.
The Viper Queen. So the Viper Queen's now his leader.
Because the Viper Queen is House of what? House of Flame and Shadow?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, makes sense.
So I don't know if I don't think that changes what house he's in. I just think it changes who his leader is. Who he answers to.
Okay. Because I think one of the characters who did defect from her house is Jessica. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe.
I think Jessica defected from her house.
I don't know. I don't know if defecting means like if that's what it means. It wasn't super clear in this part of the book. I don't know.
Maybe we'll find out.
I don't remember them mentioning it other places, but
yeah.
Anyway, so he does that. He drinks her blood, and now he's free of the River Queen. But the Viper Queen then tells him to rest up because his first fight is tonight.
Damn.
He then tells her though that he needs to help his friends finish something first, and then after that he'll do whatever she wants. And she hesitates, but she allows it, telling him to help his friends. But once he's done, he must return to her.
Damn.
He can literally feel the pull of her order, though, almost as if like her will is now like his will.
Ooh.
So it's more than just, I think,
like it's a bond. Like it's almost like a sire. Like
it's a bit
bond.
more
like it's
intense.
giving like Vampire Diaries. Yeah. Like you know what I mean? Like the person who like
it really drinking her blood made like her own him more.
Yeah. It tied them together for sure.
And so he runs. So then anyways, he leaves because he has to go help his friends, but he can literally feel the pull of her order. And he runs into Ariadne, who's the dragon, on his way out. And she's like, dude, are you crazy? Like you literally just like sold yourself to the Viper Queen. And he's like, well, I could ask the same of you since you literally did the exact same thing.
Do we think they're gonna see? I used to think that Flynn and Ariadne would be like a thing, but then I'm like,
but after
now
this,
that Therion
they're gonna be like trauma bonded because they're gonna be in like close proximity,
close force proximity thing. Yeah.
So maybe this is his love interest.
Maybe
I'm always thinking about who's the love interest.
Yeah, Kat's she's doing the math constantly. She's like, who's ending up with who?
Yeah.
Not the same.
And then as he leaves to help his friends, he feels like there is an invisible chain like tethering him to this place. And low key, this is the most interesting thing to happen to Therion in this entire book.
High key, this is the most like it's just
actually high key. Like every other Therion chapter was so fucking boring.
This one though, I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, what is happening? And I'm like, why would you sell yourself to the Viper Queen of all people?
Because it's just kind of like the repercussions of this.
Yeah, like I feel like
she owns your ass.
Because then he's literally thinking, he's like, well, you know, it was pretty easy to defect from the River Queen. Maybe I can just defect from the Viper Queen one day.
I was like, babe, I don't think
and I'm
it's
like,
the same.
I don't know. You drank her blood, so I think it's a bit more intimate than that now.
Like, I think that's almost as intimate as you can get with someone really drinking their bodily fluids, okay? Like,
so I feel like that's going to get him in a bit of a pickle.
100%. It's 100% going to get him in a bit of a pickle.
So now we switch to Ethan, who is still reeling after finding out that the wolf mystic, is an alpha fender. He tells Hypaxia that he thinks that the mystic is in danger now because he thinks Sabine knows and will try to kill the Mystic. Or Sabine does know. He knows that she knows. And he thinks that she will kill the Mystic.
Valid thought.
Ethan says that if there is another Fender heir, then he has to stay there to guard her, meaning that he can't go to Pangaea with the gang. He tells Hypaxia not to tell anyone about the Mystic because he worries it will distract Bryce from her mission, and then he leaves to go to the astronomer's place to protect the Mystic. Mm-hmm. Now, we switch again, and we're with Rune, who is on that mind bridge, again with Day, who he hasn't seen since that time that they kissed, which was the night of the masquerade ball.
Ooh.
Day announces that she can't see him anymore because she can't jeopardize everything that she has sacrificed for. He lets his masks fall so she can see him properly since she already knows who he is anyways.
Yeah, I guess at this point it's what does it matter?
Yeah, but she obviously still has her veil of fire covering her. And he asks her to explain why kissing him is a threat to that. And she tells him because it distracts her from her purpose, and she wishes that they met long ago before she got involved with the rebellion, but she's afraid that her feelings for him will just end up getting them both killed.
I love when characters say that. I wish I would have met you. Earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, it absolutely breaks my heart.
Well, yeah, it's they don't have enough time now, right?
Yeah.
She tells him that the male who's interrupted them multiple times actually, will kill Rune if he ever found out about them. Rune reaches for her and promises that one day he will find her, and then he whispers that she reminds him that he's alive too, since that's also something that she has said to him. In his arms, she tells him that she never told him the real ending of that story about the witch turned monster. Remember the one who got shot by the prince?
Yes.
And then turned into a beast afterwards and then killed the prince. So she's the real ending of the story was after the witch killed the prince in the woods, she remained a monster for 100 years. So long that she forgot who she truly was. But then one day, a warrior arrived in the forest who was not afraid of the witch. And when the warrior saw the monster, he cried because he saw not a scary creature, but a creature of beauty. He loved her, and this love transformed the monster back into the witch, and they lived happily ever after.
Aww.
And then Rune kisses her. He's oh my god, happy ever after story.
He's
so
oh my, he's could
that
be
could
us.
be us. Could be us.
He's babe, that literally could be us.
And then all of a sudden he's naked. Just literally, he's it literally says in the book, he's oh, and then all of a sudden I wasn't wearing clothes.
Oh yeah, because I guess it's not a physical
no,
body.
It's mental, right?
It's mental, so he just thought about it and
he's
they
I'm so turned on. Poof, naked.
That's crazy.
And Day shows him all of her body except her face.
Yeah, she keeps her face
she keeps her face veiled, but she gets naked too because she's into it. And then the next thing you know, they're having sex.
And
I mean, listen, this was we gotta do spicy peppers for this. But personally, it was still kind of a weird sex scene to me. But listen, I'll take what I can get with Rune because I want him to be happy and this might be his love interest. But I still thought it was weird. It's is this even happening? Are you imagining it?
It's weird in the sense of it's not their physical bodies having sex, and we often think of sex as it's a physical act.
It's literally
right?
mental stimulated sex.
They're
just in your mind.
They're just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's a simulation almost.
It's kind of. They're in
They're in a
what's that thing called?
They're in the
VR?
Matrix.
They're in VR, virtual reality.
They're in the Matrix.
They're having VR sex, Matrix sex.
They're having sex in the Matrix.
Yeah. I did like this scene though because I really love Day and Rune, and I love Rune, and like you said, I really just want him to be happy.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
I'm also giving it a 4
because it loses a point for the fact that he doesn't really get to see her face.
Yeah, I wanted a reveal, man.
And it's an interesting not physical
it's Matrix sex.
It's Matrix sex.
Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, so it's a 4. Anyways, after they finished having multiple orgasms,
God bless,
Rune asks her if she has anything to report about the rebels. She's okay, back to business.
She's anyways.
But she says that Pippa has been quiet since the attack on Erd's temple. Rune then tells her that him and his friends are going to the Asteri archives to try to get the vital intel that Sophie found out from one of the rooms there. He asks her if she has any intel on the layout of the Crystal Palace, and Day is what the fuck? And warns him to stay the hell away from there. She's this is clearly a trap, but he tells her that no one except him and his friends know about this mission, so it can't be a trap. But she says that if he is caught, she won't be able to help him.
Mm-hmm.
She then starts to tell him something. She's like, Rune, they know. The dungeons. But she gets interrupted by that other male who always interrupts him, and then she vanishes. So you never know what she was going to tell him.
She gets snatched.
Yeah.
So Rune is obviously all up in arms, and he's immediately going to the group, and he's like, we're going to the Crystal Palace tomorrow at dawn, like, blah, blah, blah. And everyone is, like, trying to wrap their head around the fact that Rune wants to go to this palace to save Agent Daybright, essentially adding a lot of risk to the plan because, like, he's in love with Day. Like, they're like, so you want to do this because, like, you're in love. Like, this is crazy. Bryce is like, you're insane, you barely know her. Rune is like, you barely knew Hunt for 2 minutes before you offered to sell yourself into slavery for him. And like, you know what? Touche.
But they already have so much to do. You're adding another thing on top of all that.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, like, I think he like kind of turns around the question on like Bryce at one point, and he's like, wouldn't you do the same? And she's like, yeah, I would.
I know. I'm not saying that's
I know, but
it's like there's a lot of stake here.
So much going on. The stakes are incredibly high.
And he doesn't even know who she really is. Really.
No, but he just
it's like he doesn't know who he's even looking for.
No, but I mean, I guess it's one of these things like I'll know when I see her.
I'll know.
But
did you know when you maybe saw her already?
No.
Exactly. So how would you know?
Exactly.
How would you know that you would know when you clearly didn't know before?
Exactly, because you had an opportunity to know and you didn't.
Exactly.
You didn't do the knowing.
Exactly.
Even though you could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Right?
Well, I guess he's just going to he's going to open every cell in the dungeon and be like, hello? Nope. Hello? Nope. Hello? Nope.
He could just pass one that was her, though, and he would never know.
Well, I guess if he just was like, Day. He's
going to keep yelling Day?
Maybe.
What if someone says, night, just by chance?
No, because I would. I'd be like, Marco Polo.
Yeah, no,
I'd be like, this is such a silly little game. Like, this is so fun. No, I get it. Bryce is like, listen, fine, but we all go in, we all go out, because I think he suggests like splitting up at one point, and she's no, like, we're all gonna go in, we're all gonna get out, like, that's the plan. And then she turns around, she's like, also, Hunt, you should stay home. And Hunt is like, absolutely the fuck not, and convinces her it's like a bad idea. He's like, I would go to the ends of the earth for you, but I want to do it like with you, kind of thing. So they start to study the map of the palace that Fury brought, and they're trying to come up with a distraction so that they can sneak into the archives. And they also figure that, like, you know, it's highly likely that Day is in the dungeons. Rune thinks that it might be worth it to push Pippa into doing something in retaliation for all their losses lately to act as a distraction. They call Cormac and Therion to meet because they need the entire, like, Scooby gang to, like, think about this idea. And when they get there, Cormac lets them know that Pippa is planning a raid on a Pangerian lab in the next few weeks. And then Therion is like, well, what if we start the raid early, because that will cause Pippa to come running before we can steal the plans, and then we, like, blow the place up. He's like, that'll be, like, the perfect distraction. They agree on the plan, and I think it's, like, basically what's going to happen is, like, Cormac and Therion are going to go and facilitate the distraction, and then Hunt, Bryce, and Rune are going to go wait outside in this grove, like, by the palace or something, and then as the plan goes on, like, Cormac is going to come and, like, winnow them, bounce them into the palace or something.
And then, like
that.
Declan and Flynn are, like, behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, working the cameras.
So that's kind of, like, loose plan kind of thing. So they all agree, and then Hunt urges them, like, Therion and Cormac, to keep the casualties at a minimum because it could get bad. Bryce suddenly gets, like, really overwhelmed at, like, the fact that this is really happening. So she kind of goes to her room, and she picks up this photo, and it's a photo of, like, her, Danica, Fury, and Juniper when they're all at the nightclub, and, you know, they look, like, really happy. Hunt comes in and is like, are you okay? And Bryce is like, honestly, I thought we were happy when we took this, but in this picture, Danica had a whole ass maid and all these secrets that she never bothered to share with me. Bryce feels like she has no idea who she is, like Bryce is, or what the end goal is with the Asteri. Like, do they rebuild the government, the world? What if it triggers another war? And Hunt tells her to just focus on, like, the now, and that they'll deal with everything else after, which I guess, like, that's all they can do at this point.
Yeah, what's the saying? Like, don't borrow tomorrow's problems for today?
Yeah, don't borrow. Yeah, something along those lines. And it's, like, it's true. Like, they can't speculate what's going to happen after the Asteri are gone because they, you know, they had never fathomed a world without them until now, really. They both admit that, you know, they're scared shitless and worried about each other, but they're going to do their best. Hunt lets her know that Declan will hack into the palace cameras, and he's going to, like, I guess, like, turn the cameras around while they're in there. And then he tells her, he's like, you know what, take your time, take all the time you need. And he leaves the bedroom. Bryce calls Juniper, who doesn't pick up, and Bryce leaves her a voicemail telling her she loves her and she's sorry and that she misses her. And before she leaves the bedroom, she takes the photo out of the frame, she folds it, and she puts it in her phone case. And this part made me really sad.
Well, that is, if that's not like bad shit's about to happen.
I know.
Like you put the photo in your phone case.
And like
it's like
the
you
fact
ain't
that
coming back here.
The fact that she called her friend and it felt like a goodbye. Like she's like, I love you. I've always loved you.
Very foreboding.
Yeah, it's not looking great. Let's just say that.
So now we're with Rune, who goes to find Cormac, who is sitting alone in a dive bar. Rune asks Cormac what's wrong, and Cormac just wonders how Rune's father never managed to break the kindness in him. He then apologizes to Rune, saying that he was just jealous of Rune and that Rune had his friends and that Rune, never let his father corrupt what's best in him. Rune tells him that once this is all over, he wants the two of them to start over, and Cormac agrees, saying it'd be an honor.
I love that.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Little refresh.
I hate when this shit happens.
You know what?
In books.
Now that I'm thinking about this and what I know about how it ends, this makes this part even sadder. Yeah. We'll leave.
I hate when characters start to make amends when there's only 5 chapters
I know,
left. Because you know nothing good's going to
happen.
You know
that when amends are made, not everyone's making it out alive.
No. Someone's got to die at some point.
Yeah.
So this was just bad news bears to me. As sweet as this was, but like I was just like this something's going to happen and it's not going to be cute.
We switch to Hunt, who goes into his room in the barracks in the middle of the night. He's basically stuffing a duffel bag with extra knives and guns that he's kept in his room.
All the usual things that people keep in their room.
Yeah. He then puts on his Umbra Mortis helmet and he leaves the room. Like he's basically like cleaning out the room.
He's like,
unfortunately, he runs into Celestina at the elevator.
What is she doing up? Go to bed.
It's like 5 a.m.
Like, go to bed, babe.
He tries to play it off with her, saying that he's just there because he couldn't sleep. And when she asks him why, he says it's because of all this like Prince stuff. He tells her that he just wanted to clear out the last of his stuff from his room before it becomes like a public spectacle. She then asks him if he's going to quit like his job with them eventually. And he says that he isn't sure because the Autumn King hasn't defined what his royal duties will be yet, but he'll do whatever he has to do if it allows him and Bryce to be together. Celestina then tells him that if he ever needs an ally, that she hopes he'll come to her. He thanks her and then gets the hell out of there. And if that's not suspicious, like, I'm sorry, this lady is so sus.
You think?
Yeah, I don't trust her.
I need to see how she comes into play in the next books, personally.
Like, clearly she's suspicious of him.
Yes.
And I just, like...
She knows something.
She's like, they're not being honest with each other. Mm-hmm. And I just, like, I still can't grasp, really, even Hypaxia aside, I just can't grasp what side...
Celestina's on?
Yeah. Like, is she Team Asteria or is she Team Rebel? Like, I don't know.
I also feel like she should be very forthcoming with Hunt, considering he has this massive secret on
Or
him.
Is she Team myself, I do what will keep myself and Hypaxia alive?
Which, I mean,
like, so she'll do whatever she will, like, she'll pick whatever side will protect her better. So if that means, like,
ultimately
doing
she's
the
only
Asteria's
loyal to,
yeah.
She's only loyal to Hypaxia.
Yeah.
And her love for Hypaxia. Yeah,
and even then, like, I'm a bit suspicious of that because she's so clear to say, like, I wish I wasn't in love, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, and if that's really how you feel about it,
then why even do it?
Like, is that something that you would just toss away because you'd rather save your own skin?
Ooh, so many thoughts.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm a bit suspicious.
Thinking a lot of things here.
I am thinking a lot of things because I just find her a bit suspicious.
She's a little suspicious.
She's suspicious.
Everyone's a little suspicious. So now we're with Therion and Cormac, and they're on their way to start the raid on the lab in Pangea, and they basically like lie their way in because they're wearing like officer uniforms, and I think Cormac at this point also realizes that Pippa is already there and she's in the trees like with her team, so like she knows kind of thing. Now back with Bryce, her, Rune, and Hunt are in the Eternal City, and they're in this like grove, I guess, outside of the Crystal Palace, and she makes this comment about how like the Eternal City is like stuck in another century. It's very like old looking, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't really fit with like how advanced the rest.
It's like still old world kind of thing. Cormac pops in really quick to tell them that the plan is a go, and then he starts jumping them into the palace, starting with Hunt. So he takes jumps Hunt into the palace. Bryce and Rune have a little heart to heart, and then since they might die in a few minutes, they start like confessing things to each other, and Rune is like, your power surpasses our father's power, and I, essentially want to stage a coup when we get back. And Bryce is like, oh my God, yeah, I totally support you in a coup. You'd be a great king. And he's like, no,
A coup?
you're not getting it. He's like, I want you to be the Autumn Queen, like, if we get back. And she's like, what? Like, I think you should be king. But Rune insists, because she's more powerful, like, the Fae ultimately, like, will respect that. He's like,
Right.
They wouldn't necessarily respect me staging a coup because, like, I'm not as powerful as, like, you are. So they kind of, like, table that a little bit. And then Cormac, like, comes back and he, like, caught the end of the conversation, so that when he's with Bryce and, like, jumping her in, he tells her that he agrees and that she should be the Autumn Queen. Now we're with Hunt, who's trying his best not to, like, wig out over being, like, back in the palace, because it's obviously bringing up a lot of, like, feelings for him because he got tortured here. And they're ready to kind of, like, start their operation. And I guess the first part of the plan is Hunt is going to give Bryce a surge of power so that she can jump into the archives. So he surges power into her little star chest star thingy, and she jumps into the archives.
And that's where we leave you.
And that's where we leave you.
And keep in mind, there's only like 50 pages left of this book.
Oh my God, yeah.
So
much has to
a lot
happen.
happens in the last 50 pages.
So much happens in the last 50 pages. Like, truly, this is really where the action, I think the bulk of the action.
Oh, yeah.
The bulk of the bulk of the, like, deep plot related action.
Yes.
I think. Because, like, what you're about to find out in this next part is, like, I don't know, it's really good. I was, like, shocked reading it.
Yeah.
It's really
honestly
exciting.
I was thrown for so many loops in the last 50
Oh, yeah.
pages. I was like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
There were certain things that just, like, upset me that I never really, like, got before.
Uh-huh.
Because half the time when I read fantasy, like, I'm head empty. So I'm never picking up on clues.
You know what
I'm never picking up on clues.
You know what I think about fantasy? When I read fantasy, I'm surviving, not thriving. That's not to say that
I'm surviving with them.
Yeah.
So when they learn the information, that's what I'm learning.
100%.
And if they don't know, then I certainly
don't know.
Yeah.
And you're like, I love reading it. It is so enjoyable for me, but I'm not like these people who are, like, analyzing shit so deeply that they, like, figure things out, like, 37 chapters in advance. Like, that is not me.
There are certain things we do, but they tend to be, like, the more obvious things.
Like, I figured out who Daybright was.
That was probably the only thing that I figured out before it happened.
Yeah, that was the big thing.
Everything else, mic dropped for me.
I also did have an inkling that, like, the wolf mystic
I figured she was important.
Important and that she was part of a line.
Yeah.
And I kind of figured that she would have been part of the Fenrir line because, like, of the
because of what
exactly
Danica was looking.
But, like,
into.
the other shit, like, I had no fucking clue. I was like I said, surviving, not thriving. But what are we doing next time?
Okay, so next week we're doing a bit more of, like, a fun episode, a little bit more chill.
Yeah.
Taking a break from Crescent City for a hot minute. And we're doing an episode where we are, like, doing, like, a tropes tier list / draft.
Yeah.
And that's basically where we are going to take a lot of, like, famous tropes and then rank them into different categories for you guys.
Yeah.
Based on, like,
our
personal preference of how we feel about those tropes.
Yeah. I'm, like, really excited for it. We got some, like, funny tropes. I'm really proud of the names that I came up with for the tiers. So
yeah, they're hilarious.
That'll be a good one.
Cass did a lot of thought into that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, after that, we our last 3 episodes before Crescent City 3 comes out are all Crescent City or ACOTAR themed.
Correct.
Or Throne of Glass. SJM related.
SJM related. Basically, like, our last 3 episodes of, like, this block of episodes that we have, like, really deeply pre-planned is all SJM themed.
Yeah. There's one more Crescent City 2 episode on
then there's
the last couple chapters.
Then there's the I Explain Throne of Glass, the entire series to Kat. Then we do our, like, little theories episode.
You know what's funny though?
What?
I keep going back and so you've almost read all of Throne of Glass,
I'm almost finished.
Or you've done it all at this point.
I am almost finished at this point, and it is.
So I keep on, like, going back and forth on whether or not I'm gonna just do it and read Throne of Glass.
See,
and there's always a part of me that's like, oh my gosh, yes, like, I own all the books.
You do.
And I'll, like, pick it up and I'm like, that's it. I'm starting today. And then I will just say, never mind.
Listen, I want to talk about it in the theories episode, and I have it, like, I can't say because then it'll, like.
Okay, we'll keep it.
I can't say because it'll give it, like, on my opinion on whether you should, like, read Throne of Glass kind of thing. I have my opinions, but we'll keep it. You'll see that episode sometime in January, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
The
before
it's all January now.
Yeah,
All these
before.
episodes
So yeah,
are
we're just
January.
gearing up towards like CC3, and I think our tentative plan is to do CC3 recap, right?
Once it comes out, yeah. Probably we start right with that.
I think that's what we're just gonna jump into. We're gonna
Yeah.
jump like into CC3 recap and then go from there. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
stay tuned. We're excited.
Stay tuned. So exciting. As usual, all the episode information, all the descriptions, blah, 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 is all in the description below, no matter where you're watching. If you like this, please consider leaving a like, a review, a comment, messaging us, share us with a friend, because that really helps out our podcast, and we love interacting with you guys. We love it and appreciate you.
Yeah. So thanks for listening to Two Book Bitches.
Bye.